Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nalian Talks Anime, this time talking about Tokyo Revengers Episode 10, Re-Rise. This was another great and intense episode that follows up the previous episode very well. It picks right back up where we left off the last time, with Takemichi finding Draken's body on the ground, most likely bleeding out. Now that Takemichi is at Draken's body, he continues to yell out Draken's name. This catches the attention of Mikey, who wants to know what's going on, where he eventually does see Takemichi and Draken. Takemichi tells Mikey that Draken had been stabbed. At the same time as all this is happening, Mikey is fighting off a whole group of Mobius members. Mikey makes one final push through the members to get to Draken, however he is stopped instantly by Hanma, and he and Hanma then engage into another fight. This is when Draken then begins to cough up some blood, symbolizing that he is in fact still alive, which means that there is still time to save him. Now that Mikey is stuck in this fight with Hanma, he tells Takemichi to take care of Draken, since obviously Mikey is too busy at the moment to help out. While Takemichi tries to think up of what to do with Draken, Hanma and Mikey fight. And this was probably one of my favorite fight scenes, if not the top fight scene for me personally, that this show has had so far. It had a little detail that I really enjoyed because it would have been very easy to just not include it, but this whole fight, or this whole scene, is taking place in like the pouring rain. It is downpouring, and they put the detail in of Hanma's hair being completely drenched, so it's now like down, and whenever he moves you can see the waterfall fly off of him. And this is consistent with just about everybody. Even Mikey's hair, you can tell, is visibly wet, and everything they do, you can hear and see the rain and the water fly off of them. You can hear them stomp around in the puddles. It's just truly an amazing detail that they added. This was just such an amazing fight. Takemichi does figure out what to do with Draken eventually, and he puts Draken up on his back with the intent to carry him all the way to the hospital. To Takemichi's credit, he makes a pretty good distance. Like, when it shows Takemichi carrying Draken, the size difference between these two people is insane. He has Draken on his back, but Draken's feet are still almost touching the ground. It basically looks like a middle school kid trying to carry this full grown-ass adult on their back. Eventually, both Hina and Emma catch up to Takemichi carrying Draken, and they let him know that they have called an ambulance, so all they have to do is sit and wait while the ambulance arrives. Unfortunately though, due to both the festival going on and the rain, the ambulance is going to be late, which of course was a great thing to learn as we see a group of people seemingly dressed in the Toman outfit approaching them. And even better, the person at the head of this group is none other than Kiyomasa himself. Takemichi gets up and walks towards them to put a barrier between them and the currently bleeding out Draken, and now the two girls. They instantly start taunting Takemichi, and Takemichi starts to look like he's about to give up and run away again, but the second he starts to put his foot back to either bow or run away, Draken begins to speak. Draken tells Takemichi to take the girls and just run. He also assures Takemichi that he'll be just fine, which, come on bro, we all know that ain't true. Hearing those words from Draken makes Takemichi begin to cry. You know, our good old crybaby hero earning his name once again. And as he's crying, he starts to reflect on his past. At the end of this reflection on his past, Takemichi comes to the realization that his life sucked so bad last time because he kept running away from things. So this time, he lets out a loud yell and decides he's not going to run away. He then approaches Kiyomasa and all of his buddies. In the face of all this taunting and these people in front of him, Takemichi wipes his tears and declares that he will get his revenge on Kiyomasa, and we see a brand new face of Takemichi's that we haven't seen before. Takemichi now truly looks like he's going to be the one to stand up against all of this adversity and possibly die. We have to remember, these are the same people who stabbed Draken with the intent to kill him. And right now, Takemichi is the only thing that's stopping them from finishing the job. Takemichi tells Kiyomasa that he wants to finish their fight from back when they were fighting each other in the Fight Club. Draken thinks that that is stupid, but still says that he's going to bet 100 million on Takemichi for this fight, which then prompts Hina to also bet 100 million on him, and Emma betting a whole 300 million on Takemichi to win. Whether or not they actually have all that money doesn't really matter, it just shows that they fully believe in Takemichi to win this fight. Surprisingly enough, Takemichi is the one to throw the first punch. However, as his hand is flying toward Kiyomasa's face, Kiyomasa takes out his knife and stabs Takemichi in the hand. Taken by total surprise, Takemichi is now standing there with a knife through his hand that has started to bleed, as knife wounds do. Obviously, in response to this situation, there could be some pretty extreme responses, and Hina, ooh, sweet Hina, her first reaction is to get in there. She would have gotten right up in there with Takemichi, but Emma held her back, which she thankfully did, because that is way too dangerous for her to get herself directly involved in like that. Hina once again saying, "Don't mess with my man." Hina is a ride or die for sure. Best girl of the entire series. Now with a smirk on his face after stabbing Takemichi in the hand, Kiyomasa decides to let Takemichi know that this isn't just a one-on-one fight, this is an execution. Kiyomasa has the full intent to kill both Takemichi and Draken here tonight. And then Takemichi pulls the knife out of his hand and goes to punch Kiyomasa again. Who is this, and what did they do with the crybaby part of Takemichi? This is absolutely crazy. Takemichi really begins to think about his past, or the previous timeline, I guess you could call it, and starts to take a lot of responsibility for how his life turned out. He wanted to blame Kiyomasa for everything, saying that Kiyomasa was the root for everything and why everything is so bad. However, he does land on the conclusion that it all starts with him. He has kind of a, I am the ruler of my own destiny, and I'm going to make things different this time kind of moment. He continues trying to attack Kiyomasa until he ends up just straight up biting the man. Of course, all of Kiyomasa's little guys there start calling Takemichi a wuss and a 5th grader for biting Kiyomasa, when Kiyomasa is the one who brought a freaking knife to a fist fight. Like, hello? Somehow, Takemichi ends up on, like, Kiyomasa's shoulders and has him in some sort of hold. I don't know my hold, so I can't tell you which one. While he has Kiyomasa in this hold, Takemichi realizes that he can't be like Mikey and that he is not like Mikey. And now he doesn't even care that he can never be like Mikey. And to end this whole, like, I guess kind of speech, he lets out this big yell at the top of his lungs, declaring that he is Hanagaki Takemichi. And then he continues to squeeze tighter and tighter around the neck of Kiyomasa until Kiyomasa eventually passes out. Takemichi has beaten Kiyomasa. He has gotten his revenge, and he has won the fight. As he lays there, lying on the ground in the pouring rain, we see Takemichi just smiling. I'm sure what he's feeling is absolutely indescribable. He's won. He got his revenge. However, they're not out of this situation yet. There's still the rest of Kiyomasa's crew right there waiting for him to get back up. So Takemichi tells Hina to take Emma and run, and this time they do. Emma and Hina take off running, leaving him and Draken alone. At this point, Takemichi and Draken have basically accepted the fact that they're probably going to die. Takemichi even asks Draken if he's ever thought about what heaven is like. And to reply to that, Draken gets up, still clutching his wound, and tells Takemichi that he's going to hell. At this point, there is no way that these two can fight these guys and win. Takemichi says that he can't feel his stabbed hand, and that his other arm is way too tired that he can't even lift it. And then Draken, of course, is in the state of somebody who was recently stabbed in the gut. However, these two are completely determined to go down with a fight. They're not gonna go down like a couple of bitches. One of Kiyomasa's boys even has a knife drawn, ready to kill. Kiyomasa's boys charge at Takemichi and Draken, and right before they're about to clash, right out of the bushes comes John Cena. I mean Akun. He punches the dude with a knife right in the face and sends him stumbling over to a gate where the knife flies out of his hands and lies on the other side of the gate, currently unreachable. And then Akun looks behind him towards Takemichi, and once again, well, I guess this is the first time he's done it in this timeline, but he calls Takemichi a crybaby hero. And as he does that, they show the version of Akun that jumped off the building, briefly kind of like mold with Akun, and oh, I swear I lost a piece of my heart when that happened. And that's when the rest of the boys show up. And by boys, I mean Takemichi's friend group, before they got involved in this whole Tokyo Manji gang stuff. I'm not sure if they mentioned this in the past and I just forgot, but he and his friends refer to themselves as Mizo Mid's Ferocious Five. Which, they got a pretty good name, I gotta admit. They then say that their presence there was due to Hina, my girl, calling them up and basically telling them what's going on. So of course they had to show up for their friend Takemichi and Draken. Unsurprisingly though, his friends basically get their ass beat. They've all been seemingly inspired by Takemichi in some way. We see Akun kind of reminisce about how Takemichi handled the situation with Kiyomasa the first time. And they even do this thing where they start to make the same like facial expressions that Takemichi has made every time he's kind of like took a stand up to something, as well as even directly quote him on the things that he said when he did stand up to Kiyomasa when he saved one of their friends in the past. Gotta say, even though they were all getting their asses kicked, this was another great scene. This was truly such a great episode. Their presence there wasn't to win the fight for Takemichi and Draken though. It became pretty obvious that they were there to just be tenacious and to not go down, buying enough time for the ambulance to get there and for Draken to be saved. Then, as the episode begins to come to an end, the ambulance starts to arrive, or at least we can hear the ambulance, and it shows us scenes of the ambulance. However, I won't say mission complete until we see Draken in the ambulance being taken away to the hospital and saved. And yeah, that's where the episode ends today. Obviously, this is a much shorter episode. There wasn't too much to really go deep into talking about, or any sort of new information about any of the mysteries or theories that I have about the show so far. It was all just pretty straightforward, fight scene, and here comes the ambulance. Thank you, Dorks, so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you think you saw something I may have missed in this episode or anything like that, or if you just want to talk about it, please leave a comment down below or hit me up on Twitter or post in the subreddit and let's talk about it. Thank y'all again, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!